Good evening and thanks a lot for joining us, guys. What a crazy couple of days it's been. First of all, if you've just joined the channel, if you just subscribed, liked, found me on Twitter, followed me, all that kind of stuff, thank you very much. There's been a lot of growth happening all over the place, and all the feedback and messages and stuff like that I've been getting has been absolutely fantastic. Any of the videos, guys, any of the content that does help you in any way at all, it means the absolute world to me. As we go through the stream tonight, we've got an amazing guest lined up, which you'll know already if you've been on Twitter. But as we go through tonight, if you do enjoy the content, of course, please do make sure you smash that like button and help me out a little bit in terms of helping the channel to grow and all the kind of success we've had over the last little while. Coming in for this live stream for this game week, I couldn't have thought of a better guest, if I'm being absolutely honest, to go through this stuff with. Someone who's always got a cool head, who always kind of speaks the words of wisdom, if you like, and it's kind of been there, seen there, done that with all the stuff that most of us that will probably be on the stream tonight have been through. So it's a great kind of person to bounce off experiences with and have a chat. And that is the one that only, it's MDJ, Football MDJ Mel. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me on. It's an honour. Thank you.
I think by calling it an honour, you've been a wee bit too kind. But no, thanks a lot for taking time out of your life to come and chat some football and some SoRare and maybe some other one or two things with me. It means a lot. So thanks very much.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. It's nice to be on it rather than just watching it for once. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So as you probably know, Mel, from when you've been on before or when you've watched before, normally when I have folk on, we end up just chatting about whatever's been happening the last couple of days. I'll kind of run through my game week for the guys that kind of keep up to date with like my lineups and all that stuff from the last stream, and then I'll kind of be setting up teams and we'll discuss fixtures and that kind of stuff as well. For any of you that say this is the first live stream you're joining, if you're joining us live, stream normally runs for somewhere between 40 to 60 minutes at the most, just depending on how much we've got. This week there's not much fixtures, but there's actually been a lot happening kind of off the pitch, you know, which we're all quite familiar with. So obviously the last couple of days, as most of you are aware, and this is, I'll frame this as a question to you, Mel, right, somehow, but prices have kind of, I've got it right. Prices have kind of ran away the last little while, right? We were kind of chatting about this right before the intro finished. Prices have ran away the last couple of days and everything else, okay? If you've been around here for a little bit longer, the bargains you have now, you'll be in the same position as me, Mel, and most other people there. You're in that sticky wicket of what decisions do you make? You know, am I going to actually try and flip something and just get a massive profit on something that I got not too cheap that long ago? Or are you thinking, can I buckle up? Here we go. Mel, what's your kind of thoughts?
Oh, it's a really difficult one, isn't it? I mean, I'm a terrible hoarder, so I really struggle to let go of anybody. This is a real issue. So I think the logical thing to do, I think, at this point is to sort of trim the fat from your collection a little bit. So I have forced myself to put a few cards up on the market, because actually, if I'm not regularly putting a player into a team, or even struggling to put them into a training team, is there any point in me hanging on to them now, or can I actually sell them while prices are high? So I'm trying to just trim a bit of the fat, but there's some cards I just, I can't even think of an amount that someone could offer that I would let them go at this point. So I'm trying to hold firm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm aiming to sell about 8 or 9 if I can, because it would be crazy not to at this point, because we're suddenly in the seller's market, and it's not really been that way since I've been on. So you've got to make the most of it.
Price-wise, like ETH valuation-wise, like I feel like we're back in November time, give or take, when ETH was circa 300 to 400 quid. And I was actually thinking about this in the car earlier on when you kind of gave me the nod that you would come on tonight. I was thinking the two things in life I'm most jealous about Mel for is our Dybala and our Jota. And both of them, because of when you snapped them both, I've been like, oh my God, how has she managed that? Both of them then, they've always had a permanent kind of thing in my mind when I'm on the transfer market, is see like, oh, is there a really randomly cheap one of them right now? And I was really close to buying a Dybala literally like 6 days ago for like 0.28 or something mental like that. And now getting a Dybala for that price, of course, is, I haven't even checked his price, but I know for a fact it's not going to be 0.28.
I sold him, I sold him a while back because he really.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
He wasn't performing.
Oh,
I was like, it's really irritating, and you're not performing, so I'm going to get rid of you. I can't bear to stare at you anymore, because he's such a wasted talent, isn't he? So I got rid of him. But I did have a look, and actually, I didn't think his price had gone quite as sky high as some of the others.
Oh, really?
But I'm not letting go of Jota. He's staying. He was such a bargain.
That was criminal.
I can't believe I got him so cheap.
But see the crazy thing about it, I'm actually just going to pull your gallery up and throw it on the screen, right, so we can have a look at this Jota, because when you put the tweet out, I don't know if it was a message in a group chat or something, I can't remember exactly, but Liverpool was only been on the platform for like 2 days. It was like a brand new card. And yeah, it's there. Oh, you've done it was a private bid you got it on, wasn't it? Yeah. But I remember thinking
it was like 0.16 or something. It was really, really cheap.
Yeah.
Silly money.
So I remember it, so I was thinking, Jesus, because Liverpool, as I say, when was it, the 6th of January? When did Liverpool, oh no, that's when he got, yeah, so you got it the same day the guy bought it. So 6th of January, I don't think Liverpool was that far behind New Year. I think they were maybe the 2nd or the 3rd or something at a push. Yeah. So that was the most crazy thing about it for me. It was just like, they were just so brand new. All the cards were hot. They were all in high demand, and it was a great bargain. You've still got that. Oh, and you've got a lovely little Diego Rossi as well.
I know. I'm so glad I got him.
Oh, well, Jill.
People keep trying to send me offers for him, but I'm not letting him go.
Yeah.
I have been getting crazy offers for him.
Under 23 strikers, see, as soon as the European leagues finish, this guy is the best guy going, undisputed in my mind. So well done to you. Again, somebody I'd been kind of cautiously eyeing up, waiting for that perfect little moment. And it just feels with some of those kind of little hunts I was going on, you might have been the same, Mel. All the work and all the kind of patience has kind of went away now, because it's like, oh, fuck, I've missed them all. They've definitely all, I remember I was looking, have you been doing much market shopping over the last month or so, Mel?
I've done a fair bit up until the last few days, and obviously since then I've mostly stopped. But there's a few I've picked up in the past week or so, because I can't help myself. But I'm focusing largely on the under 23s and trying to build those up. I picked up the Fenerbahce keeper.
Oh, did you? You took the plunge?
It exploded, yeah. And I'm so glad, because I'd never be able to pick him up now. And I thought at the time it was a bit pricey. In retrospect, it was a great move, because it would be double that now, wouldn't it? So he was a good one. I was pleased with him.
There's a few purchases that I've had like that over my time. Like even when I bought Lafont, it was the exact same. It's a kind of swallowed the pill purchase. It's like under 23 goalkeeper, plays every week. It's never going to be cheap. Just get it now, then you can forget about it. So yeah, well done to you, because I wish his price started off actually when Fenerbahce came on. I don't think that he was actually that expensive for a while, until like a match or two had went and he got a decent score. And it's just been, easily one of the most expensive under 23 goalkeepers around at the moment.
Yeah, and he was one of those ones where I really learnt a lesson, because I was trying to get him for just a little bit cheaper than the guy was offering.
Yeah.
So I put in an offer, and as soon as I put it in, the seller accepted it and then immediately hiked the price up.
Oh, no way.
Well, I can't do this now out of principle. And we had a bit of banter back and forth on Discord, and then in the end, I thought actually it was just at the point when ETH suddenly dropped.
Oh, cool.
But I thought, well, I'm just going to buy it now because it's going to work out roughly the same in fiat terms anyway.
Yeah.
So I think we probably both thought we did well out of that deal, but I think I probably did slightly better.
Oof. And you've got a wee cheeky Guiri as well. One of the few.
Oh yeah, he's one I wouldn't let go. That was a very expensive purchase at the time for me.
380. Bargain now. I remember I remember when the transfer went through, you might have been on the accounts, but I remember a few accounts talking about, oh yes, he's going to get game time, he's going to really shine. And I'd only really kind of seen his name in tweets. I didn't really know much about him or whatever. And I was on SoRare at the time, and I thought maybe I should just pick this guy up for shits and gigs, basically. And then I decided against it, maybe moved on to something else, didn't have any money on that day or whatever. And I wholly regret it now, big time. Because he's been an absolute monster. In the age of 19, you know how many years, you know, you've got an R3 seasons for him at under 23 level. Is incredible. Great card.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic. I mean, I as you know, I play more than one different platform, and he's the only one that I've got across 3 different games.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's the one I've gone all in on.
Yeah, well, he's definitely a good one to go for. And say that again. Nice wee MLS contingent. Kieran Trippier, me and you'll both be happy that he'll be back soon. Because he's been a massive hole in my gallery for game weeks. He's such a key player for me. But it's good card maximum, lovely. Sorted. Mel, did you have much on this game week?
A range of teams as well, as usual. Mostly Division 4. I'm trying to push the Division 3s, but it's a bit of a struggle making that jump, and I'm just sort of hanging by a thread in the under 23s Division 4 for a card at the moment. I don't know if that's going to last till the end of the game week. I'm in 66th at the moment.
Oh wow.
And I'm on for the threshold reward in All-Star Division 4, and I just fell out of the rankings in the Champion Europe Division 3. I knew I would. That's just really difficult. There's so few paid places at the moment. You sort of feel confident as you come towards the end of the game week, and then you look and you think, oh, someone's going to overtake me right at the end, and people always do. But yeah, not too bad. The guys did better than they've done for me in the last few weeks, which has been very disappointing. We did have to have a bit of a chat about that. I told them they needed to buck up their ideas, and they've delivered. They've done pretty well. I'm quite happy.
I only had one horse running right at the end. Matt Isco. I picked up an Isco really cheap just because he was one of those guys that I've just always liked as a footballer, and I thought he's well overlooked. Too many plays, he scores well. Bagged me a 55 the night. If he got to like the 70s and 80s, I might have had a snowball's chance in hell of getting something, but he gets subbed after 60 minutes on a 51, so that's nothing much for me this game week. A few like random annoying DNPs. The Bruges cancellation kind of took a few gambling lineups I'd put out away, you know, so the gambles weren't going to pay off, which was annoying to know before ahead of time. You know, when you've got a gamble running live, you know, you can put a wee bit of faith in it, you know, and you can go, oh, maybe I'll get lucky here, you know. But when the fixture just gets kicked down the road, gets cancelled, then you know it's not going to land, you know. So is it the marketplace itself? Mel, if I can just get back on and let the kind of I'm bad for tangents and stuff, right? See, when I look on the market now, right, a lot of the activity and a lot of the kind of action, of course, is in the new signings. SoRare themselves have kind of turned the tap on in terms of how many auctions we're getting now per hour, per day. And you'll know that with all the email notifications that you've been getting, or even if you've been on the secondary market, the auctions enough, you'll know when you kind of filter through as how many super rares there are, or how many this, how many that. There's just a bigger kind of cycle now of cards, you know. So I find it, you know, it's one of these. I was talking to Ross about this, Mel. I'll get your thoughts, right? But we've got an odd kind of convergence of different market forces all kind of coming together, right? So we've also got all the new users coming in, who I suspect are a lot of them are quite crypto rich. You know, they've been maybe involved in crypto for a while and have lots of cheap coins that they've been sitting on for a long time or whatever. As well as the kind of general Twitter hype and everything else as well. You've also then got Ether up at around 1,000 to 1,100 quid for the best part most of the time, which is like all-time high levels almost. You know, also we've recently had 1,500, and the card velocity now in the market has been ramped up. So we've got more users, we've got more expensive currency, and we've got more cards, but yet all the prices are mental. You know?
Yeah. The prices are really mental at the moment, and I think the other thing that I'm wondering is whether the new signings, the auctions are being influenced by people desperately trying to get their 5 auctions completed so they get their free card as well, because suddenly the thought of getting a free rare card, you could be pulling something that's worth 600 quid, 800 quid, £1,000. So I think that's also influencing people to head to new signings and just try and pick anybody up if they can see anybody going at a reasonable price. So as you say, there's all these different market forces combining all at the same time, and the whole thing's just gone boom.
Yeah.
In the space of a few days, and prices have gone sort of 5 times.
It is like a big bang, isn't it? You know, it has just went proper boom. So what I'm kind of expecting to happen, right? I dropped some videos over the weekend at like crazy o'clock at night. I don't suspect you'd have noticed them, because I was putting them out at like 2 a.m. and stuff like that, just in case that was a busy time of night for the hashtags and whatever, you know. But in both of them, I was kind of talking about like NFTs and, you know, a lot of kind of transferable things that kind of cross over with different kind of like communities or whatever. But one thing in general, see, when it comes to collecting things, of a lot of these new market players that are coming in, I seen SoRare Data put a tweet out, and it was like half the Mbappes aren't actually deployed in the game week, you know, which lends itself to the fact that a lot of people are buying these 50 grand Mbappes and then just, you know, not opening their SoRare account again. They just go, right, okay, that's me done. I've got my Mbappe. You know, what am I doing tomorrow? Right, okay, I'll just go jump in the Ferrari and go to the beach house, or you know, whatever they're up to. So I think it'll come a point where some of these collector people will like kind of hit their kind of limit in terms of, you know, there's only so much available in terms of selection. You know, Bayern Munich, PSG, whatever. And I think when we see that is when the secondary market prices will probably start to correct themselves a bit. Because like you say, you're always going to have that demand on the auctions for the new cards and also new users getting their reward. But see, the thing with the secondary market, Mel, right, is see all the crazy prices that are on it. I don't see as many crazy prices on the secondary market as I do the auctions. Have you noticed that as well, or is that am I backing up the wrong tree, do you think?
No, I think you're right, and I think what I'm seeing actually are a lot of crazy prices on the secondary market, on the transfer market, but not necessarily the sales going through.
Yeah.
So people are listing for crazy money on the off chance that somebody's going to buy, but when you look at SoRare Data and just filter through and see what's actually selling, people are paying more than they were, but it's not crazy like it is on the auctions, I don't think. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people still have to make their own valuation, and you know, there is a risk that people are just losing their heads a bit here, and the card prices don't really reflect what the card can yield, what it's really worth. So I think people have got to be a bit sensible and not get too carried away in it. Because I don't think, I mean, people on the outside have kind of seen this and gone, oh my God, this is a bubble. The whole of SoRare is just a bubble and it's going to burst and you're all going to get burned. And I don't think that's the case. But I think there's definitely people who are paying over the odds for cards that at some point they're not going to get that back. So I think people just got to be a bit cautious at the moment. But the general trajectory of the platform, I think, is going to continue to go upwards because there is so much demand and the amount of cards being produced is not going to meet that level of demand. So the scarcity is really starting to bite now, and it just needs a bit of a tweak, I think, to the league structure, the reward structure, and that will perhaps focus people a bit more back on SO5 instead of just seeing how much they can flip cards for profit, because at the moment that is the logical thing to do when you see the prices the way they are. Buy a card on the auction, stick it on the secondary market for double the price and hope somebody's going to buy it. Why wouldn't you do that? I'm not doing that because I'm probably too lazy, but a lot of people are doing that.
Same. You know, I talked to a bunch of guys, you do as well, I suspect, that have like hundreds of cards, you know, that's just been their strategy from the get-go. And I'm quite envious that they've went down that route before, because I've always been quite careful and considerate with virtually every transaction. You know, I've made a few mistakes, I've made a few regrets for buying and selling. I think we all have. But I think a lot of people that have kind of stacked up on cards are doing quite well at the moment, even with what we're talking about with the secondary market. But when I look at the secondary market, I'm just not as interested in it anymore, for the sense that, like, I used to, you know, up until recently, I would check it like quite a lot for my favorite players, like my targets, and try and find, you know, somebody that maybe can be coming down, or that kind of thing. Whereas now I don't even bother, because I kind of know all the prices on there are going to be mental, and I'm kind of waiting for maybe an auction that somebody's sleeping on. So there's a lot of weird kind of plots and subplots kind of going on in terms of the marketplace and how it's all kind of positioned at the moment. But the scarcity thing, I make you dead right. I think the scarcity is what underpins everything quite well. They had spoken in the past about releasing another scarcity. I wasn't really in favour of that at the time, and I think I would probably be less so now. I know there's the whole mass adoption thing people talk about, but next season there'll be a whole new raft of all the same cards, and they're constantly adding more teams. So I think I don't think longer term another scarcity does anything. I think that's a real short term fix, and I would really rather they didn't, unless it was something quite low. I've heard I think it might have been the podcast with Hybe in that this week. I think it was anyway, but they're talking about 1, 10, 100, 1,000, but I really don't see 1,000 being, or no, it was a video John did, that's what it was. But I really don't, I don't think 1,000, I think 1,000's too much. If they were to introduce a new scarcity email, what would you suspect it would look like?
Yeah, I've been wondering about this myself. My first reaction to this when they were talking about it, and they've mentioned it in the AMA that they were investigating a new scarcity, so it's on the roadmap. And I thought one of the 1,000, that's the logical next step. And I guess you could argue that they don't need to release all 1,000 every season, as they don't do at the moment with the rare cards and the hundreds. But I don't know. I kind of feel a bit like you. I don't know whether it's too soon for that, because until we've got a lot more of the teams and leagues on the platform, it feels like we've not really tapped into all the potential cards that there already are. And I don't know whether they could just do more with common cards. I don't know about making them tradable, but perhaps prolonging the duration of the rookie league so that managers can pick up more.
Yeah, I've always thought that too.
And that is the way that you get people hooked, I guess, in the beginning, is if you give them a bit longer to play the game, especially with the prices being so high. You don't want to cut people off just as they're getting started. And if you could prolong that rookie stage, and perhaps have an additional division, so a division 5, which is a bit like rookie, and maybe you get to use 3 common cards and you've got to use a couple of rares, or 2 commons and 3 rares, just to give those new managers a little bit longer to build their collections. That to me at the moment would be as good as better than a new scarcity. But at the same time, I know the team will be looking at every option, and they're best placed to know what's going to work, and I trust them, because they clearly know what they're doing. Look at what they've built. So, yeah, I'm sure whatever they come up with is going to be the right thing.
I'm looking at the transfer list now, right? I'm just kind of scrolling through. I do agree with everything you've just said there, Mel. I don't know if I'm just tripping, but it seems to be the same page. It just keeps refreshing as I'm going down the list, like page 45 and whatever. It's freaking me out. But no, I think that's a big part as well. See the Trello board thing where you can access it and you have a look at the roadmap and see what's going on and whatever. I love that transparency. I love the fact that they do take things on board. I know that, as you kind of rightly said there, it's something that's under investigation. I'll look into it. We've got a lot of people in the house tonight, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. I know they've done the rounds around the comments. I've been catching these and putting these on screen. We've got all the usual suspects in the house and 1 or 2 new ones as well. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. What I was going to say, so there was a tweet that went out from, it was a Discord response, and it got tweeted out, and it was one of the guys from SoRare saying that they were investigating, or they were in the processes, of redeveloping the reward structure and what they divvy out. So I think something like that is borderline imminent from the kind of feel, number one, for the necessity for it from the actual game's perspective, as well as the kind of correspondence we've had from them so far in terms of it's something that's been on the Trello board for a while. And if we're getting kind of in-house communications that, thumbs up, we're working on it, then it bodes well, I think.
Yeah, I think that's got to be just around the corner, and I would guess that they would probably just update the current reward structure first before they look at leagues or scarcity, because that's obviously a much bigger job, and they might want to wait until the sort of summer period to do that. But I think at the moment there's plenty of scope to definitely increase the ETH threshold rewards, perhaps put it across other divisions too, or other leagues at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully there's a bit of room for some more card rewards as well, because some of that is a bit frustrating when the number paid out is so small relative to the number of entrants. But the growth has been so fast. We've been taken by surprise, and I'm sure the team have been taken by surprise, because it's just been parabolic.
Well, I'm going to say this now, Mel, right? And I'm sure you've been here long enough to remember this, and I'm absolutely certain of it. In fact, but see when they put it, see, the structure we currently know and have loved for the last however many months, 3 or 4, whatever it is. When they first released that, it was actually very generous, as you might recall. And I went on a great run. I did really well for a long time in SO5, and a part of that was down to the fact that I had players coming into form and whatever. But it was like if you had a good team, it really would have taken something for you not to bag a prize for a good like maybe month or so as growth was happening. So I do see them if they do make any tweaks. I don't think it will just be that no more. I think there'll be something where it'll be like kind of again a step, right? This is another level of rewards now because we're growing to, the head count is X and we think proportionately it should equal Y. We expect more growth to happen over the next 6 months and we want to make sure we're not revisiting this tomorrow. So I think when they do flip the switch and they do make these changes imminently, I think everyone who's set the now and just like you're saying, they're just missing out on a card here, just didn't quite get the ETH there. I think you'll suddenly find a wee trapdoor opens, at least in some, kind of maybe short period of time before growth catches up with the changes they've made, where you'll actually find yourself creaming out quite a lot in terms of bagging cards and grabbing the ETH and whatever else. So I'm really looking forward to that. Do you remember that kind of, that transition from the old system to the new one or the current one?
Yeah, the new system was just fantastic, and the addition of the threshold rewards was the thing that really changed it for me because, you could suddenly just grind that ETH out over a few weeks and then you can buy a new player. Of course, the difference now is that you'd have to grind that ETH out for a very long time to get a player, and that I think is one of the reasons why we're seeing such irrational behaviour across the market now, is because you can't use that ETH as easily to buy a player. It's much more simple right now to try and flip someone to make that profit. So we need a bit of rebalancing. I think we need to get people focused back on SO5 so that people are looking for the cards that can really deliver and not just this kind of crazy speculation. But it's just growing pains. It's a huge, fast period of growth. So there's going to be some weird stuff going on while things just rebalance. So feel pretty relaxed about it. I think, we were saying just before we went live that it feels like this has been going on for about a month and it's only been about 4 or 5 days. It's just been bad, hasn't it?
I feel like I've aged. Like it's just been such a long. It's March, the 1st of March. Even if you wind back, like we're talking about at the beginning of the stream, to when you picked up that job. If you go all the way back to January, it's been some like basically 2 full months. Not even 60 days. How many days are in January again? Yeah, not even 60 days. So it's been crazy.
And it's not like the ETH going through the ceiling as well. I mean, I remember when it was pushing £400, and I was thinking, do I want to spend £400 on one ETH?
That's it.
I wish it just all gone all in at that point there.
Oh man, I'm with you. See, because of all the stuff that's been happening, obviously, as you know, I kind of throw my stuff in my channel around Twitter and whatever. And I had a look. See my SoRare video that's got the most views, right? It's called What is SoRare? It's one of my oldest ones. And it's a 25-minute video, right? And see somewhere around minute 16, I'm on Coinbase, right? And Ether's at 180 quid. And I'm like, right, guys, spend your money as you should and all that, and I'm just doing this because I'm me and all the rest of it. Think about what you're doing and all the rest of it, financial, your money and blah blah blah, all that good stuff. I'm going to buy an Ether, right? At £187. The price of Ether could do anything tomorrow, right? Really could do anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a Memphis Depay with 0.6. That's what I'm going to do. And that's like all in the video when you see me go through and I buy the Memphis. And I'm pure like, I remember recording it and I remember shouting myself thinking, I don't know if that's a wee bit irresponsible. Looking back in it now, obviously, it's...
Well, the thing is...
Should have entered the bank account.
It's really hard when you look back and you think, if only I'd have done that, or if only I'd have got on earlier and I could have taken more advantage of this. We don't know what it's going to look like in 3 months' time, 6 months' time. So, as I said, I think I finished a blog post with this the other day, that the best time to join SoRare was, yesterday. But the second best time is right now.
Boom.
So I still think this is a really, really early time to be involved. We're so early on in the journey. And it's really exciting to think what could we be talking about in a year's time? What could be the price of ETH? What could be the average price of the card? What the reward's going to be like? Is it going to be completely mainstream and everyone's talking about it? I've just got no idea. I just know that this is built on some really solid foundations and it's going somewhere. And I'm pleased to be on board.
Yeah. Like some of my collector's cards, like also we're talking about some of yours at the beginning of the stream, but some of the ones I've got now, like you said also at the top of the stream, no amount of money that I would get me to, in good conscience, part with it, because I would, you know, you just don't know. Like I'm looking at some of the things I've got and I'm thinking, Jesus, man, like imagine, you know, really imagine like 10 years down the road, even if it was only like a mediocre like level platform with 10 years of history behind it and everything else, it would still be crazy, you know, in terms of the value and everything else. I mean, mediocre in terms of like, you know, use the word mainstream. I'm thinking more kind of like sub mainstream, sub pop. You know, if it didn't quite hit the biggie, if it just went kind of like the tier below or whatever, it'd still be mental. You know.
Yeah, and you've got these cards for life as well. So think of what you can do with them. That's why I'm largely targeting the younger guys, because I'm thinking, well, how many years can I put these guys out in a team and they're going to get me rewards, or at least they're going to come close and make me cry at the end of the night. I've got longer to do that with them. So yeah, so much potential.
I picked myself up, Mel. See, after all this stuff happened the last 3 or 4 days, I thought I'm probably not going to be able to afford a super rare ever again, you know. So I was sitting on like 2 ETH, and there was like 3 or 4 cards super rare that I really wanted that all kind of ran up together around the same kind of time.
Yeah,
and I
know who you got as well.
and I thought I'm just going to sit on them. They were actually in the absolute wrong order. The Larson, I'd have rather that was last, to be honest with you. Obviously, I got the Larson, as you know, but it was also Sangea, Hatterin, Sathanov, and something else for all over a kind of 12-hour stretch. And Larson was like kind of in the first kind of third of it. But by the time Larson was rolling up, there'd been bids and all the other ones, and it kind of made my mind up for me. I was like, well, if I can't afford Larson, then I can't afford any of them. But the sorest part of that is I was dilly-dallying on the same basically decisions for the same players at super rare level like a week ago, and I could have market bought Jordan Larson for 0.6, and I was kind of like, should I, shouldn't I? Like literally like 5 or 6 days ago, and last night, 2 days ago, whatever it was, 1.4 over double. It's a sore one, but I've got them. And I always said if I was going to get another one, it'd have to be a super rare, because I've got the rare. It was one of my first cards I bought, and I'm just never part with that. So I thought if I'm going to get another one, it'd have to be that. And obviously Celtic and Larson and all that good stuff around it as well. So I think I might be done with super rare shopping. I've got like 16 of them. I know you've got a few, Mel. How many super rares are you kicking about with?
Oh, I think I've got maybe 4. Not many. Yeah, they're not the right ones really. I mean, I've got a couple that I'm quite happy with. But yeah, I think, you know, the advice I would give someone is to look at super rares early on. I think that's what anybody that's been on the platform a while says, but it's hard now, isn't it? Because they are pricey. But you really ought to be looking at super rares as soon as you can, I think, to try and get some so that you can open up Division 3 and really go for it.
I'll kind of let you into this one, right? I kind of, if you watch the streams and stuff like that, some of you will be familiar with the player, right? But I picked up a super rare Ishmael Azawi, like, I don't know, it feels like forever ago, right? It was probably yesterday. And he was like super cheap, right? And see, the only reason I got him, Mel, is because I was starting to, after, like, or just before Eredivisie came on, I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm kind of wasting my time with challenge. You know, I use most of those cards for, and, you know, I'm kind of missing a midfielder that would do something, or kind of don't need, you know, whatever. I was kind of missing pieces. And I got that super rare, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put a random, kind of the best odds and sods I've got. I'm not going to buy any more challenger cards. Bought this little guy cheap, and I'm just going to put it in D3 every week and see how lucky I get, you know, just see if 1 week, because challengers are mental region, you know, for results and scores and whatever. You can just get lucky. And see, even with that one super rare, and I've done it a few times, you'll probably be the same, Mel. One super rare, it does bridge a massive gap for that D3 situation. You know, a lot of people think you need both of them. I think you can pull a prize with rares if you've got the right ones. No super rares, but having that one, even if it's a mediocre player, can get a team off the ground and get it into like a tier 2 situation, you know, in terms of what you're bagging.
Yeah, I think you just got to take the plunge and see if you can pick one up. And as you say, you're probably better off having really good rares alongside rather than just trying to stick in another pretty rubbish rare. You can still do it.
Yeah,
you've got to go for it.
There's a reason, even as soon as the guy came on the platform, Kimmich has always been like 2 coins or more because a top end rare. It doesn't really matter what level you get them at. If Kimmich is shooting 100 points, you're going to be doing well. Doesn't matter what card he's, doesn't matter what division you're in, doesn't matter what card it is, rare or super rare or whatever. Somebody that's going to shoot you over 70 points most weeks is worth their weight in gold. Not that they have a weight because it's a card, but
I wish I was sitting on a Kimmich at the moment. That would be nice.
Kimmich. Yeah, there's a few things I was kind of eyeing up right before everything kind of popped off and ran away, which I think I've kind of alluded to earlier. I'm not going to bore people by repeating it because I'm pretty sure I spoke about it, but it's going to be honestly like there's a few purchases that'll always haunt me, and see now like I have to just wipe the slate clean and just go, do you know what? I feel like we're in a great position. Again, we've kind of spoke about this kind of on and off a wee bit, but I think now we're kind of moving into like the next stage of the platform's kind of growth. And I think the next iteration of the reward system is going to be, I think everyone who's kind of here now will get an immediate benefit from it. I think there's a lot of people that will stand themselves in good stead that are just off the prizes normally that will suddenly find themselves in it until the user base grows and outperforms that, and then it needs adjusted again in the future. And the same again with like the prizes you pull, because like when you're pulling prizes, that is what really gets you up and running. I really don't have any much more money now than whenever I played Football Index. And if you've ever watched any of my Football Index stuff, anyone out here, you'll know that my portfolio was never, ever really over £1,000. And if it was, I was getting a nosebleed and I was making withdrawals, But my gallery on this is worth like, my average ETH value on SoRare data now is like 34 ETH or something like that,
Jeez, drinks on you.
Yeah, a lot of that is like cheap ETH that I got like early on and whatever. But again, I don't think that experience is like going to be entirely exclusive to me. If always centers around good football players, Mel. It doesn't matter any of the stuff that me and you are on or anyone is. It's always about good football players. Shite football players are always shite football players. They're not going to be worth 10 million quid. They're not going to win you a reward. They're not going to do anything. Good football players are always going to be worth money, and they're always going to help you. And that's just, when it stands and when it finishes. So if you can get yourself, it doesn't always need to be the Kimmich mail, me and you know that quite well. It can be that one that's like Guiri. You take the punt on the transfer paying off and then jackpot, that those kind of trades, they're the ones that, and again, I think we were speaking of this before we came on, but that grind, that kind of hustle of really getting behind a player, really studying the crap out of him and thinking, yeah, he's got that little bit. He can go to the next level from where he's at now. And the next level doesn't need to be the top level. It just needs to be one level better when you find them and you're in a good place.
Yeah, and I think that the SoRare matrix is really good, that the way the points are capped at 100. And I think it really does a good job of reflecting an individual player's play and contribution to the game rather than the team. And I think what that means is you can have a Kimmich, you know that he's going to score good 8, 90 nearly every game, but you can have someone who's a fair bit below his level but still pulls quite a lot of 60s out of the bag, and the difference isn't so huge. So that I think makes it more accessible for people on a smaller budget as well. You don't have to just have the superstars, and people aren't going to be priced out of the game because they can't afford to pack a whole team full of superstars. I think that's a really good way that they've set it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because again, it is only 100 they can score. Were you here on the last scoring matrix where it was just like they could?
It was bonkers.
Yeah, it was a Football Index.
I joined at that point and I took one look at it and I thought, I can't even understand this scoring.
Yeah.
And I think they changed it about 2 weeks later. I thought, thank God.
It wasn't like the points and all that wasn't too complicated, but the scores they got was just really abstract. It was like, I got 500 points, or and it was a really difficult one to really wrap your head around, but. I think, it's very seamless now. You can pick it up. It's 0 to 100. Doesn't matter who the player is. Like, I've got a Denzel Dumfries, and he got a 0 this game week. Gave away a penalty in the 94th minute or something. So kind of glad he couldn't go below 0, but he absolutely killed me. That Division 3 Challenger gamble thing I was just kind of running everyone through yourself. That is what stopped that from paying off this week. Is that Denzel hit a 0, but that was like flying high, doing pretty well. Got quite a lot of guests in the house still. Willie's joined the comment section, so is Vespasian, Irish Villain, Stefan, my man, is in the house, Evan Crightley, all the usual guys, Mike Basson, Non-Stick Llama, all the main heads in here. My head's battered with trying to learn the ropes this week. Bought a few players coming back from injury and hoping for the best. With Marcos Acuna, Yannick Carrasco got okay prices for. Nice, well done, Evan. As well, you've always got that opportunity with like, injured players and that kind of stuff. Now, I seen a tweet today from Paulinho. Looks like he's back kicking balls at training. So I'm super excited for that. I've got a rare and a super rare of him, and I've been sitting on that for too long. And it'd be nice for somebody like that to really come into the limelight for me. Now, the game week this week, now I'll kind of start to move us over here a little bit. We'll probably get back to market chat, I'm sure, before long. Fenerbahce are playing Serie A. We've got Lazio at home at Torino, Juve at home at Spezia, Napoli away at Sassuolo, Roma are away to Fiorentina, and Inter are away to Parma. Do you have any Serie A contingents that you're really behind on, SoRare?
I don't have a lot. I've got one Napoli player. I've got Zielinski, who's every now and then is good.
Yep.
He's a bit sporadic. I don't think I've got anyone else that's playing actually at the moment. It's not continuously injured. I'm not particularly big on Serie A. This is the game week where they've just added the extra ETH reward as well, isn't it? They just put that on the special weekly. That's
it. Special weekly is the same ETH reward as the D4. Mike Basson's just caught us. The Lazio game, guys, is off. So if you have any Lazio players, get them swapped out. Let's see what else we've got. Championship footballers, a few cards. I don't know them well enough to tell you what's happening. Premier League, Liverpool at home at Chelsea. I really hope Liverpool win, but I kind of don't because there's so many Liverpool cards that could overtake me in different regions and whatever. But I've got a Snodgrass. Hopefully he plays against Everton. Liga MX, Atlas are at home to San Luis, and Santos Laguna are away to Pumas. I know Pumas are a big team, so that could be a difficult one. J-League, we've got Nagoya Grampus against Gamba Osaka. That's a big match. And Kawasaki Frontale are at home to Cesaro Osaka, who finished this last season in really good form. And so back two really good J-League matches. In France, we've got St Etienne at home at Lens, Lyon at home at Rennes. Rennes have just sacked their manager, who's just left or something. That happened today. Nantes are at home at Reims. And then we've got another SoRare derby. We've got Lille versus Marseille, and we've got PSG away at Bordeaux. How are you for France, Mel? Have you got a lot of players over there?
Yeah, I've got quite a few of the Frenchies. They're my mainstay, really. I think I've taken that over from the Football Index, where they were always quite good picks. So I will pack my teams with some of the Lille guys. I'm hoping Bamba's on form, because again, he's one that I'm really disappointed with lately.
You love
He was
Bamba.
absolutely banging the scores, and he's just been off his game the last few game weeks. So he'll have to have a talking to before I put him in. I was quite pleased with Milik the other day getting a goal on the pitch for Marseille. That was positive.
Yeah, I seen his Unique went on auction. I think it was yesterday or something. Maybe today his Unique went. I think it was today actually, maybe about 12 ETH or something. Stefan's just said in the comments section, Mel, he did 8th in Asia D3 with 1 SR. Well done, Stefan. He's proven the point again. My lineups this week, I've got like a lot of good cards, but I'm in a really weird situation, right? So I've got a global all-star D3 lineup out. And what I've went for, Mel, listen to this, right? This is a juicy lineup. I've got Keylor Navas in goals. I've got Ashraf Hakimi super rare, Eo Tanaka, Renato Sanchez super rare, and then Captain Depay up top.
Ooh.
That's a good one, isn't it? Aye, so I'm quite excited about that, but I'm going in a global all-star because I'm of the opinion at the moment, if you could put out a strong champion team, you're going to put out a strong champion team every game week now, because the rewards are so fruitful potentially if you do well. So I've got a champion D4 team out, right? And what have I went for? Let me see. Paul Lopez and Mancini, the two Roma boys at the back. Captain Zielinski, I think he's going to start. And the thing with Zielinski, when he starts, Mel, I think he's quite good for 90 minutes a lot of the time. So if he can come in with a wee 60 or so at captain, that'll be decent. I'm gambling on Bruno Gomares rotating in for the Rennes game. And I'm also gambling on Joe David retaining his starting position. I think he started at the weekend. I might be wrong. So decent enough lineup. Don't know what it's going to do, really. And then I don't think I went any further because I was expecting there to be changes and stuff. So I might make another lineup. I don't expect you to tell everyone your team, Mel, of course, but what's the division you're really attacking this game week out of the ones available?
I think I should be able to put together All-Star and the Champion D4, I think. and then a special weekly. I don't think I've got enough to stretch any more than that. I'll have a look. I think it's goalkeepers where I'm going to come unstuck, as always.
Yeah, I think it's defenders that are doing me. So I've got Mancini, who I've put out. I've got Rayo Takao, which is fine. I can use him. He didn't start the last game, but Andy Robertson, and then Manolas. But Manolas has been DNPing like mad. And I've never really, I don't investigate. I think I better do that now. I don't think he would come right back into the team away at Sassuolo. Locatelli this week, Mel, have you seen it? He's been linked with all the bigwigs. I think it was today. Everyone's won. And Locatelli, I think it was, it's like Juve, Man City, Barca, the usual kind of clutch of, the teams that the super agents love to sell players to. Those kind of teams. So Sassuolo and Locatelli could be a difficult game. So even if Manolas is coming back from injury, I don't know if they would chuck him in, because they do have good defenders that they normally rotate around with. So I think it's at the back I'm going to come unstuck this game week.
I'm pleased that I've got Kabak, and he's getting starts now for Liverpool, which I wasn't expecting to happen straight away because he was a bit of a punt when I bought him. I'm happy with him. I mean, he's not gone off to a flyer, let's be honest.
No. Yeah, definitely not. But it's one of those ones, form, it goes up and down all the time, and that's part of the thing when it comes to the marketplace as well, is you are looking for those guys that are out of form or coming back from injury sometimes, to get your bargains. And me and you both know how easily you can get an injury bargain, Mel, especially as the injury happens, because people will want to dump. So there's opportunities always around the corner, guys. You just need to know what they look like. In terms of midfield, I think I'm okay. I've got a Weston McKennie lying about, so I could put him in into this. And up front, I might be using my Common Ronaldo, which I haven't used in a long time. I don't know. That Ronaldo, my Common Ronaldo is up in level, but he's not quite maxed out yet. So the common cards, Mel, see, before the old system, I've kind of said this a few times, but in the old system, I could get away with using a common and pulling a prize, but at that point, a common was like worth a third of a rare. Whereas now they kind of start at half a rare and move their way up, but I've actually used them a lot less. Also, my gallery's a bit bigger than what it was earlier on, but it's weird because I know they're more powerful. I've just got this kind of mental block with commons that I just don't want to look at them most of the time. But something, if you've got a big common, it could be worth it, especially when it's just if you're chasing,
Yeah. I think it's really easy to overlook them, but especially obviously when it comes to goalkeepers, if you've got some good commons you can use to fill gaps, they really are useful. And if you can keep leveling them up through trading as well, it's not as big a penalty as it would be otherwise.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Timo Weah, for example, right? I think, Lille were really heavily rotated, right? If I went with the Weah, there's a good chance he comes off the bench and he bags me like 27 points. Ronaldo to bag me 27 points would basically just need to get a goal. And I think then that Common Ronaldo would probably outperform that way. And otherwise, I think... No, I want this... No, it's a tough one. I can't use commons in that special weekly. Sorry, I'm just kind of babbling about commons for no reason, Mel. Ignore me. Over the next week or so, Mel, what sort of activity do you expect us to see on, I don't know, maybe Twitter or the transfer market? Is there anything you're kind of thinking, right, the next thing I'm expecting to see, unless you say come from SoRare, do you think we've got a new club coming down the pipeline over the next few days? Do you think that's something we could look forward to?
It's been quiet, hasn't it, on the club front? I mean, they did onboard an entire league, so I suppose we should cut them a bit of slack. But the club stuff has gone quiet. I think they've got a lot on their plate, really, with the big investment that they've had. But I don't know. I don't see another club coming for a little while yet. I don't get the sense that that's coming. But I'm hoping that the shake up with the reward structure, the prizes will come first. That would be good to.
Yeah, good point, actually.
And I don't see the current madness on the transfer market stopping anytime soon, because every day, I don't know about you, but every day I'm still getting lots of DMs and people saying, okay, I want to know about SoRare now.
Yeah.
I think more and more people are hearing about it. So I think we're just going to see even more people coming onto the platform, which is going to continue to push prices. So, yeah, I think we're going to have another few weeks of this before things slow down. What do you think?
It's so hard to forecast because, like, as much as experience can kind of teach you, like, learn from your mistakes, or that last time, I'll tell you something, right? That this is almost like fact, right? I've seen this in the group chat I'm in with like John and Ross and that the other day, right? But I've noticed this happen at least 3 times, if not 4, right? But see when ETH is like spiking and going up the way over a Saturday and a Sunday, it always goes back quite drastically on the Monday. And then what you find is see a lot of the kind of the keyword in the spam accounts, like across Twitter, like these kind of random clickbaity news outlets. They always start the headlines with, "Oh, this has went back 10%," or whatever. So it's something to be mindful of if you do, because when you are buying ETH, it's always better to try and buy it cheaper, of course. And if you notice that it's going up, try and watch out for little trends, because I've noticed if it's going up over the weekend, almost certainly on the Monday or the Tuesday, it will pan out or it will go backwards. So that's will be something. I don't know how I got on talking about that. Sorry, I'm really bad for that kind of thing. Where I start on one thread and I end up running away talking about something completely different.
As a tip, do you know one thing I did that I really regret? I had some, when ETH was really high, when it was about 1,400 on ETH, I'd set up some optimistic buy orders on Coinbase Pro in the hope that it might drop to about $1,000. And I just left them there for weeks. And I just got bored of waiting, and I thought, oh, sod it, I'm just going to buy in. So I took the money out and bought the ETH, and then literally it dropped like a stone the next day. So I figure if I'm going to do that again, I'm just going to leave that money sat there, and then if it drops again, I just get it at a lower price. So I think that's something I'd recommend people do. If you can just set up a speculative buy order and wait for the price to drop, you don't need to think about it then, do you?
No, totally. Is that when it dropped back to like 900 quid like 2 or 3 days ago?
Yeah. I literally bought in at the very top, only 500 quid worth. I got fed up with waiting. It's just gutting, but that's the thing. This thing teaches you patience, I think, more than anything else.
It does, and I've always been quite transparent in the sense that like everything I've been involved in since I've been running this channel and whatever as well, I always learn from mistakes, and quite a lot of the time I try and like not do something and then think, right, okay, I'll just see how it would have played out, and then next time, and sometimes I can lead to a wee bit of regret. Obviously, you think, oh, I knew that was going to happen, I should have just done it, but I think one thing I learned one thing I don't know if I'd say I learned, I found that I enjoyed quite quickly was like, if I know, right, okay, I've got 200 quid or something I'm going to maybe put into this, as I would sit and I'd watch ETH for like a couple of days, and I would almost see it as like a challenge. I want to get this as cheap as I can, over the next week, whenever that is, depending on what the price is up to and all the rest of it. And because of that, like quite a lot of the time, anyone who's in direct contact to me will know this as well. Like, I'm always really happy with, my ETH is like always dirt. I've not, since Christmas, Mel, do you know how much I've deposited or bought in SoRare or bought Ethereum since December? Do you know how much I've paid?
No.
80 quid for Ethereum. That's how much I've paid since December. But right before December, I bought myself like a coin and a 1.7 for Christmas, basically. And then with the growth and everything that's happened, I've managed to live off that by trading and doing everything else, kind of upgrading my armor, if you like. But I always see that, I always get enjoyment out of that, is try to get it as cheap as I possibly can. And that includes like the fees and the transactions and all that caper as well, because that's a pain in the arse to deal with. If you're not coming through ramp, like if you're on Coinbase Pro like yourself, or Coinbase or Binance or in these types of places.
Yeah. Did you hear the news about that?
Yeah, the gas fees are going, or they're coming back to us, kind of thing. Which I'm not really that.
I think.
Sorry, you go.
I was going to say, I think that's sort of from now. So rather than it's a future thing, I think that's from right away.
Yeah. The thing I read said it was the thing from them. It said it was unsustainable, which fair enough, man. Because I know those people are abusing it, and we've all seen it. There'll be random players out there. They'll get DNP tattooed on their face, but somebody's paid like 40 ETH for them 2 months ago. That's people just like abusing the system and like transferring big wads of money about the place. So they have been biting the bullet on that. There's also been like genuine customers like me and you that have enjoyed it and not had to worry about it. But there was people out there ripping it, and they've accepted that. And now there is just a lot of genuine traffic, and they're just like, listen, this bill is mental. We don't get charged any commission on anything ever, So they were doing us a favor, basically picking up the bill for that. So I'm not really that bothered that they're not. Obviously, it's something to be mindful of every time you're depositing going forward, but it's not something that really affects me in any way, emotionally or attachment-wise or anything.
No, I think, like you say, somebody's got to pay for it, and they're not charging commission. And some people were just taking the mick, really, because you could just send ETH straight through the system. You didn't even have to buy players. So
Yeah,
you can see they had to do something about that.
so I think I'm going to start opening. This has happened a few times. Whenever I go to look at the rewards pool, it says no reward pool available, and it's always when I'm on the stream, and then I'll do it later, and it'll work. So I don't know if it's my computer or something, or if it's just, I don't know if SoRare maybe releasing the reward pool after the game week launches. Maybe they don't want people just all crowding around the Mbappe's, wherever they're going to be this week. Because they're all on, like, you'll probably remember me from the new system launched, and this is for anyone that doesn't know. The rewards go on a loop, right? So if Mbappe is available in Champion Division this game week, and then it gets won, he gets taken out of rotation. I think it's for like 6 game weeks or something like that. That doesn't affect his card being won in under 23 and in Champion, because there are other divisions that Mbappe card can be won, because that's where he can play. And so there's obviously 3 routes to winning Mbappe, which is the most sought after card at the moment. And it is important to kind of track what divisions could pay him out this game week, if that's what your focus is to go for the big card wins. So I don't know if this is deliberate, or if it's just my browser, or the recording system.
So this is a right newbie question here, because I never look at the reward pool. So if you click on this and it brings up the list of rewards, which it is doing on my screen,
Oh, is it?
that will tell you what you could win.
Yep.
Because I never even look, but it's bringing up Mbappe for in Europe this coming game week.
For Champion Europe. Good. Okay, people will be happy at that. I think I might just click on, I may be clicking on something wrong. So I'm going to hit prize pool, and then I'm just going to change it from Champion Europe D1. It'll probably be because I can't access D1. And then hit tier details. Are we going to get something? Yes, we are. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, Mbappe has 18 left to be won. I don't know if that's in total how many reward Mbappe's there are, or if that's just for Champion Europe. I suspect it's overall. Maybe we'll see if he's available in global. No, he's not in rotation for global. So if you're entering global this game week hoping to win Mbappe, it is not possible. Change your selection to champion, and if you don't have champion cards, tough luck. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But you've still got a Lewandowski and a Kimmich to chase. Jesus, there's only 8 Lewandowskis left to be won from global at the very least. I would suspect that's overall. So you might actually notice once these reward allocated, because this is something I've noticed, Mel, right? See, hunting for super rares. You know how many go out for auction because you're tracking that. You're thinking, right, well, I need to see when the auctions are coming out. I know 5 super rares are going to be held for rewards, and 5 will be dropped out in auctions. And you know when the 5 auctions are gone, that's it. They're not coming out on auction anymore. Equally, I think the same impact to a player's card price could and would and should happen when you know they can't be won anymore, when all the rewards have been dished out. So when you see Kimmich only looks to have 4 reward cards left, you know, what's his price going to do when you can't win Kimmich? You can only buy him. There's no hope of that. It could be mental. Still got All Black in there, Cecilia, Lukaku, a lot of good rewards. Star rares are not won by that many people, so let's have a wee look at a tier 1, right? Because tier 1 is something you could probably realistically get on a good game week with most collections, everyone's got their chance in the sun, or their day in the sun, whatever you call it. Verratti, Sané. I loved winning my Sané, so I hope somebody wins that. Asmun, very underrated card. Firmino, good couple of tier 1s there. Icardi, Pozuelo. Not quite the star appeal in the tier 1 for the global this game week. Let's have a look at the Champion Europe. And then I think we're probably wrapping this up, Mel. To be honest with you, tier 1. Wirtz is a tier 1 in Champion Europe. So that could be a tasty card to win. So is Depay. Tier 1 in Champion Europe. That just tells you how many star quality cards there is in Champion Europe. With Memphis Depay is a tier 1 because he is. So is Delict now. And Cruz. Oh my God.
He's on fire. His scores are insane. I
really want Cruz. Let's see, right before the pop, I was watching Cruz. The lowest he got to was 0.8, and I couldn't spend that on a rare. Now, obviously, you might think twice. I probably should have, but wow. Tier 1. Imagine you've got tier 1. Tier 1 is probably I think it's between like 7th and 13th. Imagine finishing 13th and bagging a Tony Cruz. That's mental. Easily, obviously, must be going for about 4 or 5 ETH or something at the moment. Marcus Llorente, very underrated card as well. But yeah, magic. And the special weekly, I think that's what was happening to me. When you check the price pool for special weekly, you get that. Oh no, you don't. Oh, it must have been because I was in that Division 1. Star Rares and Special Weekly, this will be interesting, because the thing always puts me off of a Special Weekly, unless they put the ETH threshold on, Mel, is that there's only 10 winners. You have to be in the top 10. And then obviously for the bonuses that they put on, like signed shirts or whatever, it's the top 3. So it's kind of lottery odds. I never get that excited about it. The Star Rare Special Weekly this week is Muller, Alfonso Davies, Oblak, Allison, Gravenberch, Noah Lang, your boy at Fenerbahce, Marquinhos, and the list goes on. I'm not going to list them all. Magic. So, Mel, have you got much hope for this game week? I know you've probably told me once or twice already, but I'm terrible for asking.
Well, I always go into it thinking that the pessimist is never. So I'm just going to throw them in and hope the boys do me proud. But I never look at the reward pool because I never expect to win any cards. Anything's a bonus.
I think most people will only look at the prize pool when you've got a sniff. You think, oh, I'm in the hunt for a tier 2, tier 1, whatever. But I think if you've got like myself and yourself a bigger gallery, I think you will start to see maybe the difference between going under 23 or splitting that selection up. Maybe drop 1 or 2 of those cards into Champion, Challenger, or Global All Star. So I think you might notice some varying, because David Peters is really good for putting out those ratios every game week. How many entrants there is and how many cards will be won. I think when we start to notice on the odd game week or two, there's not actually some of these tournaments may actually just swell, because like the fixtures are really good in Champion and everyone's got Bayern Munich cards and they're all wanting to throw their cards into Champion and try and get the Mbappe and the Kimmich. So I think we might notice a kind of swell in regions against the global and the all, because the All Star and under 23 have always been the two I prioritised because the ETH payouts are the biggest if you hit the podium. I said, under 23s is better ETH than a region, but I think under 23s, of course, you've got under 23 cards to win and they're more attractive. But
and it's just slightly easier to win as well because the average points to hit the podium or to hit some kind of card reward is lower, I think, than all of the other leagues. I think.
Well, in Challenger D3, I hit 268 points and I finished 88th. In Champion D4, I had 280 points. That's 20, about basically 12 more, and I finished 159th. So yeah, you're spot on. Like Champion Europe, the point target you need to set with your team to try and be in realistic chance of getting something big is elevated because all the players in there are like, there's a lot of teams out there that will have a Kroos, will have a Kimmich, a Goretzka. No, I can't say his name without being sad. But yeah, these kind of cards. So I'm hopeful I might get something this game week. The game week I'm just leaving. All I'll be collecting is my little 0.1 ETH. Hopefully we bag thresholds on both the game weeks. That's available. Both the divisions that's available for this game week, Mel. I hope you do the same. Will you be going after both thresholds? Have you got the team to do that? I know you're saying you're a wee bit.
Yeah.
Will you make it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can make that work. I'm still hanging in there as well for the under 23s this game week. So I'm
really?
hopeful that I'm going to wake up to that. I'm still hanging in 66.
Oh, well, I'll check it for you. I don't know if I want to jinx you. What position again? 66? Oh, so are you on the bubble then? Is it 65 or is it 75?
I think it's 75.
Oh, well, you'll know better because also you're in the position. But, no, well done to you. I think, everything's ran. It's 10:30. So I think if you're around there, you're right. You never know with the odd opta change. Don't want to get your hopes up, Mel. That's under 23 D4, you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, that's really. I captained him. He's carried that team on his back.
Oh, really? This is only let me go to fit. Oh, no, it's not. I'm just waiting for it to load. Sorry, Mel. There we go. 66. 66, Mel. Oh, your Fenerbahce boys in there. And now, you're right. Kabak. Lokonga, you rate him as well, yeah? OR and Guiri. Lokonga?
Yeah, he should get a transfer, I think, at some point. So that's either going to kill him or make him stronger. So I don't know if I'll keep him at that point, but he's pretty solid and he's young. I like him.
See what I don't get, Mel? We'll make this the last kind of question, right? And I'll let you get to your bed, so I know it's late. So thanks for joining me again. But with all the players Andrew like to have, why are they not winning football matches?
They've really gone off the boil, haven't they?
I look at their cards and their team is stacked, man, And even they've got Jacob Brun-Larsen in their team. He's not got a card yet. He's a player that I've been a fan of since FI times, So I look at their team, Lokonga, obviously other guys that are injured now, like Kanya and Basharan. Like a really good team, they just don't win fucking matches. But Lokonga does always seem to be winning teams right enough, so I mean, you look at him well. He served you well. I know he served a few other people well, so it's a really good team you've got there, Oar and Amiri. That's a solid under 23s team.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, you, mate. I hope it's a good one. Thanks again for joining me. Everyone else, thanks all for joining the stream. It means a lot to me. I hope you have a great game week. Any rewards, feel free to hit me up on Twitter tomorrow. Rub it in my face. Show me what you got, especially if you've got a cruise. If any of you win a cruise, I want to see it. Next stream is on Thursday, guys. There's more content coming out. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.